Good afternoon or good morning, everyone that's watching today's video today. So, yeah, oh my gosh. So, today I am doing a commission for someone on the internet today. I am making them open up a door UI. To get inside a building, they open up a UI, and then after that, they go inside one of these buildings right here. So, they were using this little, what you call it thing? Hold on, alt. They were using this. Now, you could use that. You could use that. You can even check to see if the humanoid is on there and stuff. However, since the new update came out of, these approximate prompts, I decided to do it for him for like $20 or so, right? So essentially, this is how it works. I'm gonna push play. You load into the game, and you are essentially inside the game. You load inside the game, and you go up to a door, and to open that door, well, really, the UI is going to come from the left side to the right side in front of you. Really, just resetting the position of the frame to 0. Once you do that, you're going to then put that UI back in its place. So put it back to 1. I think it was -1, and essentially teleport the characters your spot into a different place. And truth is just changing the C frame to a different C frame. And you can do it many ways. The most basic and logical way is to simply just have it connect to a part C frame, then the actual coordinates itself from the X and Y and Z vectors. You would do it by the part vector. It's more simplified to say something is equal to something else than to get the exact number and put it in the script. I just find it much more easier to handle because then you can just move the part itself around instead of re-typing the coordinates over. But yeah, if you a script OG, then yeah, sure do that. But I just find it much simpler and easier to just carry the parts around like a little box. So this is what we have essentially. We hold down E. A frame comes from left side, then you push enter, and you're inside the room. Nice. And then you do the same thing. Oh, this is a nice room, by the way. Don't you agree? You push enter or exit. I should switch the text to exit. And then you're back outside again. Now, how does that work? This is how it works. You have a you have an object here. You have an object here that contains a proximity prompt, that contains a script, that contains an object value. This property. So right here, this thing right here, you go inside the house and you connect it to a part, like so. Okay. So keep in mind that part is inside that value now. Okay. Script.parent I triggered. So we're going to trigger the proximity prompt, connect a function. Then we're going to get the player from that function. We're going to print the player's name. That's in the output. And then I'm going to I'm going to get game get service replicated storage dot open door find fire clients. So since we're firing from a script, we need to fire the client. So we're going to fire the player. So we're going to fire at the player, and then we're going to carry a message that will be script.value.value. So essentially, what is script? Value is a child of script. So we're going to simply say value. This is below script. And value is a property of value. And a value is defined as the object. Okay. And since we're carrying that object value around, and we're putting it in, and we're putting it into replicated storage through a remote event, then we have it as a placeholder in the remote event. So it's inside the remote event. It's like a message inside the remote event. I'm going through storage UI. Not that one, this one. And we have a frame on the left side. So change the position and it's at -1. If we were to set this to 0, it'll just be in front of you. By the way, also don't forget to do this. You have to make sure you check this. Because if you don't leave this, if you leave this unchecked, then it's going to go down here. It's going to not go over the that gray line at the top, that top bar. If you want to cover that, you need to ignore this. You have to ignore that, or it's going to show that. So you have to ignore that. And put this back to position back to -1. All right. So essentially, what I'm doing here, I'm saying is get serves replicated source.events.opendoor.client connect function house spawn. Now this is a variable. Ignore that. But we're going to events from replicated storage, and then we're going to open door, and then we're going to get the function. We're going to catch it on client event. We're catching the event, and then we're going to connect that to a function, and then we're going to carry a variable around because it's directed at our player. And then we're going to print it. Then we're going to print test to define the output and printing out a message to prove that the script ran. And then we're going to tween the position from -1 to 0. And then we're going to make script.parent.value.value go house spawn. So we're storing the house value into something else. So we're storing it into another value. Let's show you why that's useful for right. Because once we're in here, and we define the player and we define the character, and then we print out the character name. And then once we say script.parent.mouse button click connect function, that is script.parent.mouse button click. So when we click this button, it's going to connect a function. And then script.parent.parent script.parent.parent um, basically the frame. Then we're going to tween the position. So we're tweening this position back to -1. And then character.humanRootPart.cFrame equals script.parent.parent.value.value.cFrame. Script.parent.parent is script.parent.parent. That's value. Value, a property of value. And the property of value, which would be that part that we connect from that object value over here, and we're getting the C frame of that part. If that makes sense. So essentially, when we push enter, the thing's going to display and it's going to force our character in another position. Not putting it on top of anything. You're getting the origin spot and you're being teleported to that origin spot. The center of that entity, wherever that is, you're going to be teleported to that. But since this is not can collide or can collide off, it's probably going to push the character off to the side or not. But yeah, that's how it works essentially. And you basically do the opposite. I have it set up so you can just basically duplicate it and just switch it around. So when the player push E on this side, they'll be teleported outside of the house instead of inside the house. Because honestly, this is just a part. It doesn't really mean anything. You're just putting parts surrounding another script. So it doesn't affect the script in any other way. And then you're going to do that for every other house, and that's pretty much how it works. Now you could do so. I plan on doing a little bit more extra because it does its job. It gets you outside the house and inside the house, but I'm going to make it so that it's like he owns the house, like Meep City or something like that. Yeah, well, that's today's. Should I call this a Q&A or a tutorial video? I don't know. I'm gonna just call it discussion video. I think that'll fit in excellent. Well, I would imagine. Lord, oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So that's how it works. Okay. So we have the interact tool, and it moves from left to right. And no, our character is still here. Oh shoot! Can I even move this? Does it even show? Hold on. Hold on. So it's not going to teleport. If you were curious, it's not going to teleport our character until we push enter. So we are still physically here. Now, if we were to push enter on the client, hold on. If we were to push enter on the client, it will teleport us outside. Um, so like it's like a little illusion effect. It's gonna tween, but also as soon as it starts tweening, it's going to teleport us. So that's how you get the cool graphic effect right there. Test client. Switch to server. As you can see, we're out. We're away from outside the house. In fact, we are inside a house. We're not actually inside the building itself, but we are inside a building that. Oh shoot! What the heck am I doing? We're inside a building that somewhat. So why am I? Hold on. Why am I control this? I'm moving all over the place. Control. Control. What's happening here? Why do you keep on moving forward? What the? Okay. There we go. So as you can see, it moved me right in front of the door because that's the teleportation part right here. Since the can collide is set true, it's going to push, shove me down, but that's all right because it does chop. Now, if we were to switch back to client and we were to go over here and push E, it would teleport me right back to. If I were to push enter, it would teleport me right back to out. Why am I mouse like that? It would teleport me right back to outside. Simple. Oh shoot, what the heck? I think I just broke my laptop by chance. I don't freaking know.